Hi everyone. So I am going to quickly now walk you through the Molo9 Roadmap. So the reason for the Molo9 Roadmap is that anytime I work with a company, there are some fundamental things that I look to have set up correctly in place. And once I have these fundamentals put in place, I'm able to look at the other marketing campaign goals and get a better ROI out of them. For example, if you have an amazing set of ads running on Facebook, driving traffic to a website, but the website is lacking certain features, or the website's broken, the sales funnel is broken, your ads may be amazing, but your client might think that you're horrible at running ads because they're not seeing conversions, and it's not your fault. It's because they don't have basic things set up on their company website. So your ads are doing well, but they're not converting because something's wrong with their website. So the roadmap is kind of just, it's what I use to basically make sure that the company that I'm about to work with has the firm foundation set so that any work we do, it's actually effective and clients are able to see the value of our work because it's showing them real results. We just make sure that that nothing's broken and hurting hurting our own work, basically. So if you are working with multiple clients, you may spend more time here than someone who is just using Molo9 for their own company. This is the company profile. So here you set the industry, you set the business model, you set the brand fascination score, CAC, LTV, and GCR. You have to set all 6 of these for Molo9 to understand what is going on and what it should be recommending. If you do not set your CAC, LTV, or GCR, Molo9 doesn't know. It's just software. It's not a human. It doesn't know how to give you recommendations unless you tell it all 6 parameters. We tried to make this as easy as possible. Initially, it was numerically based, and then we would calculate whether or not your CAC was low compared to industry standards, your LTV is low or high, and your GCR is low or high. And this was a little bit confusing for some people, so now we set it to be as easy as possible. If you want to see all the recommendations for your industry, business model, brand fascination score, you're going to say that your CAC, your cost of acquiring customers, is too high. Your LTV is bad. And your goal completion rate is too low. These three top tell Molo9 the types of strategies that should be filtered down based on your industry, business model, and brand fascination score. But they don't indicate to Molo9 what you need help with. The bottom 3, your CAC, LTV, and GCR, tell Molo9 which KPI to look at fixing. So if you say that everything is perfect, you will not see any recommendations because you've told Molo9 that your business is perfect, and there's nothing for Molo9 to do to make it better. It's perfect, it's untouchable. You have to have something wrong with your business for Molo9 to give you recommendations. So you have to either have CAC, LTV, or GCR with a less than optimal current level. So now that I have this set, you're going to see a lot of recommendations because too high, bad, goal completion rate is very low. What I'm telling Molo9 is I need help everywhere. So if you click that button, it's going to bring you to the campaign planner where you can see specific goals. But right now, what we want to do is look at the recommended roadmap. We want to make sure we have a solid foundation so that when we go to try to complete a goal later, we actually are able to see a really great return on the time and money invested into completing that goal. This is phase 1. You can filter by cost and by time. It's going to show you There's 6 time options and I think 5 or 6 cost options. It will show you the ones that are available within that specific phase. It's not going to show you all 6 if every recommendation in that phase is only one of these 2 options. You can unclick and then you click on the URL in order to be brought to see the recommendation. Keep in mind that Molo9 was built for 27 industries, more than 8 business models, a lot of brand fascination scores. The title that you see here may be the same for several different industries, but when you click here, the result you see is not the same, because the result that you see for one might be, okay, this applies to multiple industries. The result that you click with the URL to see for another may be very specific to that specific industry and business model. So do not just look at the title and decide that you already know what the recommendation is going to be. Click on the URL to see the specific recommendation, because sometimes we show you specific examples that are just for your niche. So this is an example that's for supplement companies. We have it under the generic benefit selling. See how it has just this plain URL? That means that's the generic one that applies to the most industries, business models, brand scores. If it has a weird set of letters after it, that means it applies to a very, very, very unique business. So if there's a code at the end, that means that it applies only to your specific combination. Each one of these has the take action at the bottom. I try to keep the recommendations as slim as possible, meaning you see the recommendation, it's the title, there's 1, maybe 2 paragraphs explaining what it is. It's more there to be a refresher, to give you like a very high level understanding of what the recommendation is. I don't want to flood you with a lot of information. I give you just a couple of examples, 3, sometimes 10 examples, and then the take action. If you want to read more on a specific topic, for some of them, I do have a read more section at the bottom that shows you different books and articles that you can read in order to dive deeper into the topic. Now, some of you have asked how Molo9 is AI powered. What it does is it creates these recommendations for you. The way that you give Molo9 feedback is by rating the content. If you rate the recommendations you're getting as 5 out of 5, you're telling Molo9 that the decisions it has made for you are accurate. If you give low recommendations, you're telling Molo9 that the recommendations it has made for you are inaccurate. Keep in mind that it doesn't just take what you say into consideration, it takes into consideration what everyone who's using the software is saying, and the parameters that they have set. Okay. So you have 3 phases. Everyone's 3 phases are a little bit different. And then it takes you to the silver bullets. So after you implement the 3 phases, they are in order of how I implement them when I'm working on a new startup, a new client project. And this is the order that I use. This is the order that I found works best for me. If you find an order that works better for you, that's fine. But if you want to just take these and go with this is how I would implement it in this order. Once you have finished all 3 phases, you're ready for the marketing campaign planner, which has different recommendations under each section. Now, let's say you go here and you don't see a lot of recommendations. You can fill in this form right here, and that will tell us hey, this unique combination, because I think there are like 600 different ways that that the parameters can be uniquely combined. This unique combination does not have enough recommendations. Can you add more? If you ever attend a live Q&A session, you will see a giant library behind me with, I think, like 8 or 9 cubbies of notebooks. And those are all of the playbooks that I've put together for myself, for my clients over the years. So there are plenty of recommendations for us to continue adding to the Molo9 database, and we are adding more every single week. By filling in this form, you're not driving anyone crazy. You're just telling us, hey, this is my unique combination. I need more recommendations. Could you please drop some more in? Take a screenshot of your this page for us. Drop it in here. Drag and drop it in here. We literally have this so that we can see what your KPIs are. Just drop it in here and then say, I need more recommendations on this page, and you copy and paste the page where you didn't see enough recommendations or where you would like to see more. If you are an agency level, you can go click there and you can come to the templates and create a project using the templates here to get to go for a more in-depth project. This is built actually for people who are working on a lot of client projects and they're working with teams. This is a little bit robust. If you're just working by yourself, checklists and workbooks might be better for you. And to get to those, just hover over Learn, and then you have workbooks and checklists. The way that Molo9 content is created is someone asks for a process that I've used in the past that's worked for me. I create a checklist. The two that I use the most in my own work are the startup launch checklist and the fundamental growth checklist. You'll notice the fundamental growth checklist very closely mirrors the roadmap that I recommend you start with. After I create these checklists, we have live Q&As and people just ask questions in those, or they hover over support and they send feedback about the questions they have on the checklist. Then we take the checklist, like this lead magnet checklist, and we turn it into a workbook. So we have how to create a high converting lead magnet. This is a workbook that walks you more in depth through each step. The checklists I've found are very useful for people who like checklists, but also for people who have been in the marketing space for a while and they just want to see an optimized process. Workbooks give you a little bit more hand holding. And then if you're like, you know what, the workbook just scratched the surface for me. This is a new topic for me. I really need like some more in-depth guidance. Then you have the master classes. We only have one that's currently published live. We have 5 that I'm working on behind the scenes right now. If you go to the master classes, you'll see that they're much more in depth. As you can see here, not only do I walk you through how to do it, we also have a checklist to go along with this if you want to outsource this step. Which brings me to the outsource section. So to get to the outsource section, you go to plan. Like let's say you're planning, okay, what do I need to do myself? How much does it need to cost? Can I outsource it? In the outsource section, you will see the briefs and the job descriptions I use in order to outsource different tasks to other marketers. If you're working in marketing, a good problem to have is too much work coming in, and so you need to outsource some of the tasks that take you a long time that don't necessarily make you the most money. These are the checklists, and this is the guide that I use. This is literally the job description that I use. in order to outsource when I don't have enough time on my hands to finish all the client projects in front of me. Anyways, I gave you a little bit more than just the recommended roadmap, but I hope that helps clarify some things for you. How you can use the recommended roadmap along with a few other resources in Molo9 in order to get the most out of the content. I tried to put the content in as many formats as possible because I know that different people learn and they consume content in different ways. So we tried to have the content available in multiple formats for you based on your level of understanding of marketing and just how you work on your own or with your team.